All right, hello YouTube. It's Astrid. How you doing? If this is your first time here, hello. My name is Astrid. I'm a psychic oracle mentor, collective channel, somatic healer, different things. I was guided to do the Heroine's Journey spread for this reading. So if you are familiar with my work on TikTok, if you've been in those live streams, then you'll know what this is. But the Heroine's Journey spread is unique to the archetypes deck. It's a 5-card spread. We're going to bring in some other decks as we go along and as I'm guided. But it's described here, so I'll just read to you what the description says. Based on Joseph Campbell's story arc of the hero's journey, this spread reveals significant markers upon a seeker's path. This spread is commonly used when you are graduating or taking a new job, when you're embarking on a journey. But it can be used at any time. It's very insightful. I always call it a crowd pleaser. And I feel like just intuitively, in getting started here, the collective that I'm speaking to is navigating some darkness, and it's as if you can feel yourself departing from this darkness. You can feel yourself departing from this darkness, but you don't quite understand, or it hasn't quite come together yet. And I'm noticing this tension in the release. Yeah, it's like it hasn't quite come together yet how you will kind of come out of it, I suppose. So we're going to go ahead. I've already shuffled the deck. Let's take a peek at what's on the bottom. We have the heart on the bottom of the deck. I will describe the placement of the cards as I am putting them down. So for card number 1, we have the call. This is the inner voice, agitation, dissatisfaction, or inspiration that prompts you to courageously embark on a new journey. Here we have the unseen. So definitely something that you obviously can't see, but can perhaps feel, right? It's not you're not entirely sure what's on the other end of this, but you know that there's got to be something on the other end of this, right? That's kind of what I'm hearing here. The threshold is card number 2. This is the obstacle to your leaving, the habit that wants to hold you back. It's likely held you back many times before. I want to point out that the underworld is on the bottom of the deck as I am reading that aloud. Okay. The threshold is the medallion. What are you... seeing like fool's gold. What are you really aiming for? And we'll go deeper into that. The ordeal is card number 3. This is the deeply profound challenge or dilemma you will face along the way. This is the lurking shadow that will reveal itself so you can grow. You have the prayer, your intentions. There's one more card that wants to come out for this placement, so one more for the ordeal. And the sword, your intentions, and what you may need to depart from in order to have clarity in those intentions. Yes. I'm seeing they're showing me like cutting through fog. What is fogging your vision might be something that maybe you don't want to admit. Maybe it's something that you've leaned on, a coping mechanism or a distraction. Card number 4 is the boon, the reward, wisdom, skill, or blessing you will attain on the journey. This gift is mystical by nature and cannot be found in creature comforts. Agape, wow. That which you place outside of you, what receives your honor and worship. That's beautiful. It is, this has been coming up a lot for the collective, and that very much so speaks to how I started this video. The collective that this is for is what you are I suppose what would be the answer to this unseen, right? At the bottom of the deck, we have the empty room. So it's like it's full of potential, and it is what you place in that room, right? So it must be of your creation. Yes. Okay, so card number 5 is the return. What you can expect to encounter upon your return, the quote-unquote homecoming, impacts your ability to integrate meaningful change. Prepare accordingly. Oh, we have the gem. I love that. So this is what is inside of you. This is the special thing that lives within you, that you have to mine for it, right? And if you notice, the card that was at the bottom of the deck in the beginning of the reading, the heart, had the same like foliage surrounding the heart, protecting it, as the gem. So in both of those cards, you have to work through the foliage to get to what it is you're getting to, right? In this case, it is the gem. At the bottom of the deck, we have the vow. Some kind of contract, some kind of sacred agreement, some kind of trust bond between yourself and this thing that's outside of you, this agape energy. So whoever I'm speaking to, I'm a little bit chilly. I'm gonna put my my shirt on. I had it over my legs because it's cold where I live, and I'm right next to this big window, which I love this window, but it gets chilly. Okay, so that which is outside of you. So you could be feeling very lost. You know, you could be feeling, lost in the sauce, lost in the fog, lost in the thickness. There's a density here, full body chills. There's a density that has come over this collective that could feel consuming at different points, that could feel kind of like you are trapped, and that's that sword cutting through, in the place of the ordeal. It's as if in your place right now, you're aware that there are things that need to be, there are dead leaves on the plant that must be pruned off. I saw a video recently of someone who I'm friends with on TikTok. Actually, she's fabulous. I don't know her handle. But she said that her plants often reflect where she's at in life, and that one of her plants was getting ready to, it was ready to be repotted, and because it had outgrown its container, it had outgrown its vessel. And she was in the process of outgrowing several things in her life. Excuse me. Yeah, there are things that want to escape, and it's like they're coming out in bursts, but it's not that catharsis that you are hoping for, right? It's like kind of like a fizzle, not a bang. And that feels maybe anticlimactic, maybe disappointing in a way, but it is the sustainability portion that you are being schooled on here, that you are learning. That is part of this lesson is, in escaping the fog, you are stripping down, and getting past this, call, being the unseen. You are having to strip away things that maybe you have grown deep attachments to. And this is also, I want to make it clear, I don't feel that these are things outside of you. These don't need to be physical, tangible items or relationships or spaces. It doesn't necessarily have to be things in the 3D, but it is more so, giving this feeling of your coping mechanisms, your excuses as to maybe why you haven't taken action yet. And part of that in the threshold here has to do with what exactly it is that you are that you are after, what exactly the goal is. And so something that's coming through here is this bit of guidance about your why being your motivating factor. It is not the goal, it is the why. Why do you have that goal? It is not the goal, it is the why that can be your motivator. Okay, forgotten coming out of this deck. This has been a thing. There seems to be something within the collective consciousness that is asking to be remembered. And I actually, full body chills, I actually did a reading about this earlier just for myself, because it's been troubling me, well, what, like, just over the past maybe few days, maybe week, I've been thinking about that. Like, well, what have we forgotten? I've been kind of going over various things that obviously that I remember, but the idea of what it is that we've forgotten it's something that, I mean, when are we meant to, you know what I mean? Like, it's something that you can't place. That's the origin of the forgotten. It is something that you can't place. And so one of the conclusions that I came to was, well, it must be ancestral wisdom. There's something about salt, the energy of salt that is purifying, clarifying, cleansing, right? And in alchemy, in the alchemy deck from the same author, this is Kim Krans, who created the archetypes deck, which we're using here. In her alchemy deck, there is the card Wise Salt, which speaks to the integration of your experiences, your traumas, different things, integrating that into your body as wisdom, being the wise salt. And she says in that deck, the guidebook for that deck, you see wise salt when it enters the room. These are things that we see in our elders, which I was kind of pulling out of this, like, well, we don't really have like the council of elders anymore. And this is something that in theory, I believe will be brought into the fold in this kind of new era that we're entering. Something that will be reestablished is like that council of elders, the grannies that we go to for wisdom teachings or whatnot. Something has been forgotten. Sensation. And feeling at the bottom. When I pulled on, what it was that we had forgotten for myself earlier today, in trying to gain clarity for that, it was very largely about play, and like inner child stuff, and just the idea that like maybe we've forgotten how to enjoy things, maybe we've forgotten how to truly be imaginative, and that's kind of what was coming through, was just the expansiveness of a child's mind and the expansiveness of, what can be created there might have been kind of forfeited for a need for productivity, a need to be seen, right? A need to be recognized, validated, anemic. Let me get clarity on this card. And thinking. Okay. Clarity. Anemic. Logic, performance, balance, masculine strength. Yeah. Shining offering of logic. Its heavenly brilliance illuminates a woman's thoughts and lightens her limbs and soul by lending clarity and a sense of purpose to her perceptions that are waiting, dark and fertile, ready to blossom in its pollinating dawn. But when squandered or corrupted, this masculine voice no longer delights the soul of a woman. Its powerful light fades, and those vast fields of far-sighted thought lose their clarity, becoming entangled in the lonely knots of emotional confusion that make them prey to the fate of an unlived life. Oof. Wow. So, and obviously I would encourage you to not gender this the way the guidebook has. This is masculine and feminine energies. So what is forgotten is that play aspect, that play and that imaginative thing, that part of us that came through in my questioning this earlier. That is feminine. That is feminine in nature, right? The ability to play and enjoy and flow and create, that is feminine. The logic and the logic and the thinking, that is the container for the play. That is the container for the feminine. That's the masculine container. So yeah, I mean, like, I think that there has been a coldness that is brought about this collective, and so a lot of this, I mean, I think I'm speaking to, I mean, I know that I'm speaking to a deeply creative collective, and it seems that you're right on the precipice of receiving that creation, that thing that is outside of you that you're bringing into the fold of your life as something that can take form and can grow with you, that you can watch grow. This also gives you a sense of purpose that allows consistency and upkeep to be easy and simple, right? And I'm hearing something about guarded, so protecting it in a way that is not wasteful, where I think that this anemic energy coming through being what potentially caused this unseen energy and this kind of grasping for something that is like fool's gold potentially. That is the logic of, like, it's kind of like the money is happiness thing. If we're removing money from that, right? If we're removing money, it is the journey that brings the happiness, the journey to, and that's why the why, right? The money might be the goal, right? Stability of some kind, maybe an award or an accolade of some kind. That might be the goal, but why do you want that thing? Because money is not a sustainable anchor, right? If you've been around and you know, been watching me for a while, you know, I've said that a few times. Money is not a sustainable anchor. And so the vow being at the bottom of the deck, under the vow is the cave, which is connected to the heart chakra. The vow being, you know, are you tied to fool's gold, or are you tied to like a true sense of purpose? Yeah. Okay. And then I just wanted to get an idea of what is coming in for the collective. I just want to point out that in shuffling, we have the Six of Cups at the bottom, which is very childlike, you know, that is childlike, give and receive. And I also very heavily associate the Six of Cups with the heart chakra. So a lot of heart healing, a lot of, and that's also how we receive money is, and exchange and whatnot is through the heart chakra, because when the heart is open, and I'm noticing as I'm talking about this, the sun is coming through the clouds a little bit more. When we are operating from a heart chakra that is balanced and in flow, it's in a healthy place, then that exchange and that give and receive is much more satisfying and sustainable, right? So what is coming in for this collective that is supportive, or they can expect in regards to this heroine's journey spread that I have in front of me? Okay, so some of you, I feel, will be leaving jobs for the pursuit of whatever this is. So at the bottom of the deck, I do have the Lovers, and then under the Lovers is the Fool here. The test that I can see very present is the Patience. So the first card was the Two of Wands, the Three of Pentacles in reverse with the Two of Swords, Ace of Cups, and Three of Cups. It does have to do with this community factor, but it also has to do with like your yeah, whoever is involved, or whoever is around you in the pursuit of this creation, whoever maybe your support system is, or who is assisting you, full body chills, in the creation of this thing that's outside of you. This could be a healing community, or an art community, or a community of business owners, or an online community. There's something about like the people around you. It's like two separate worlds, where like one is very fostering of, this may not apply to everyone. One world is very fostering of, your desires and your hopes and your dreams. One world is not as supportive of your desires, hopes, and dreams, whatever this agape thing is representing that's outside of you that you're creating. And so you are kind of with the Two of Swords and the Three of Pentacles in reverse and the Two of Wands, you are maybe coming to a point where you are considering departing, in the name of, fostering that Ace of Cups, that creation, right? And then we do have the King of Cups at the bottom of the deck, Judgment at the top of the deck. So it's like, this does feel like a bit of a test. But yeah, Temperance and the Nine of Pentacles here, Four of Wands. I think that as we kind of go through this journey, you're going to come up on moments where you find that taking joy in the doing, that Nine of Pentacles energy is very much in line with a lot of what we've been discussing here that may be forgotten. Taking joy in the doing is tested. You can feel blips of it, but really anchoring it into your everyday, that feels like something that it kind of feels like, the word that's coming to mind is nebulous. It feels like something that you can feel it and you want more of it, but the tools to get it, right? And so that's where they're leading me to this ordeal card, these ordeal cards here, the prayer and the sword. Your intentionality and what it is that you're asking for, you're going to get clearer and clearer as you go through this journey on how to set intentions, how to be intentional and discerning in your day-to-day life, in your interactions, in your creation process, so that it is all kind of in support of this true, I guess, this authentic expression of yourself that is sustainable and does bring you wealth and abundance in a way that, again, is sustainable, right? And it being sustainable is, do you take joy in it? Yes. I think that's great. I think that's great. And I think that, this Animus card here, the way that we get to that point where it's like, a life unlived, because that was kind of a harsh description, but that life unlived is from experiencing things that put you in a place where you kind of have to dissociate in a way from your own heart and from your creativity, because nothing in your life has fostered it, nothing in your life has supported it. But there's something in your energetic field that will be anchored into reality as you become more aligned with the process of setting intentions, as you become more intentional, as you become more thoughtful, towards your heart space, right? And in sourcing those things from your heart space, your actions are aligned with your desires, then you can protect those desires easier, because it's not an empty goal. Does this make sense? It's like you're actually fostering, you're actually supporting and bolstering something for yourself that is worth that effort. You see? Yeah. So I feel called to, so sincerity here when I split this deck, that's, yes, very good, very good. So sincerity, is kind of, I think, an anchoring point. And then this deck, I also feel called to split. I do have a feeling it's going to be more of a constructive card though. Yeah, the shadow. And then under the shadow, we have Anima Mundi. So it's like the overwhelm of it all. The not getting overwhelmed is a huge part of this. I think that this is bringing me to this thing that I say, confusion being a coping mechanism. You may find yourself in times where that fog presents itself as kind of an option. Like I can fall into this old place, or I can stay focused on the goal. And so, you know, again, anchoring into your why as a motivator would be very helpful there. Okay. Whoever this reading is for, this is really nice. And I'm excited for you. I think that this is a cool journey to be on, and I think that you should be very excited, even if the process is arduous in some ways. There are many things that are worth doing that are quite difficult. So, you know, I think it's just about what is sustainable, which means you have to kind of get your rest and make sure that you are cared for. It's a little fuzzy floating around, but I think that what we're seeing here as the end goal is very much so worth the discomfort of giving yourself things that maybe feel less than productive but are more sustainable. Take care of yourself. Go drink some water. Okay, love you guys.